Welcome back to 5 Acres Honey Farm. I'm Tara Lynn, and today we're at 5 Acres Honey Farm West in Western North Carolina. And I realized recently that I've been through a full seasonal year with bees out here. It's a little drizzly, so probably gonna take it to the porch in a moment, but I just wanted to show you how the hives are set up. These two hives I brought out here in February of this year, and they were just 2 mediums at that point, and now they're both 5 mediums each. They are behind an electric fence, which I think I've chatted about in videos before. The reason that you see so much of the white tape going so close together is that I saw a beekeeper near the Asheville area had her colonies devastated, even though she had an electric fence, but hers were spaced a little bit above the ground, and baby bear cubs went underneath it and completely ruined her hives. So since seeing that, I keep them fairly close to the ground. But what I'd like to share is a little bit about what I've learned in the past year and kind of going through a whole honey extraction season last year and this year, and how it's a little different than keeping bees in the eastern part of the state, which is what I'm most familiar with. So I'm gonna head over to the porch where it's not raining as much, and we'll grab the puppy and head over there. I'm out of the rain now, and before I go into the main things that I've learned about keeping bees in the mountains and the differences in keeping them out here, I just want to mention it is the day before Miatas at the Gap is starting. So I know that's really not anything to do with beekeeping, but my husband runs a machine shop on the side, and he creates a lot of custom parts for Miatas. And I'll share some pictures of his V8 Miata here. So my husband's machine shop is Chatham CNC, and we have a booth at Miatas at the Gap every summer, and that's in Fontana Village in Western North Carolina, so it's about 10 miles from here. And at his booth last year, I had a little like home goods corner where I sold my honey, and where I also sold some holiday ornaments that he machined and some bottle openers that he machined. And some paintings, actually. I sold my first painting last year. So this year, we'll have our booth set up tomorrow, which is when I hope this video goes live. So that's the first Friday in August and the first Saturday in August. So if you are in the western part of the state, stop by. I am 100% sold out of honey, so I will not have any honey this year, but we do have, his custom Miata parts, those ornaments, bottle openers, and some paintings too. But with that aside, back to bees. I have my biggest learning so far has been that there is so much honey production out here, like more than I ever thought possible. I don't know if it's just unique to this particular region where we are, that there is just so much forage. I believe it's 75% or more of this county is national forest land or preserved parkland, so there is a lot of opportunity for the bees to find food sources. And the Great Smoky Mountains are, I believe, the most diverse, biodiverse region in the world, and if not the country, but I'm pretty sure it's in the world. It is a very highly biodiverse area. So there is a lot of opportunity for them to find food sources. At the same time, this is a very rural area. With the mountains, it makes it really hard for development to happen at a fast, quick scale like it does in other areas. So without a lot of clear cutting and a high density of beekeepers in one space where the hives are competing with each other for food sources, this area, it seems like they have everything that they need and then some. And I believe I've shared about this a bit before in some other videos about honey extraction, but last year I had, sorry, the little puppy he went from sleeping all day, and as soon as I take this out, suddenly he is interested in having some kisses here. So you can take a little peek at this guy. He just turned 7 months old this week. Anyways, so what had happened last year was I had extracted in July out here, And then we came out at the end of July, and I had put new supers on the hives, and they were completely honey bound, and I had to extract again the first week of August last year. And then I had a horrible small hive beetle problem in the fall, and the two colonies I had out here could not survive that, and I did everything I could at that time. You know, didn't have any bees out here for the winter, but I brought most of that honey back to feed to my colonies at home. And when I keep saying home, so if you're a new follower, it's in the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill Triangle area of North Carolina, and so I had brought that home, and then there was so much honey. I had 5 supers full of honey, so I extracted again. So I extracted 3 times last year. I am like, it's just really traumatizing to have to go through that a lot for someone who's doing this on a hobby scale. So I know folks who are doing this on a business scale, this is just, you know, this would be a breeze for them, but it's a lot to juggle in between everything else in life. So what I did this year, which I thought I was being really smart, so this is one of my big surprises of beekeeping out here in the mountains, was I brought the honey from here back home and did a single extraction. So I did all of the honey in one day from both apiaries, and I bottled, sold out. I thought it was great. I also thought that last summer was an anomaly, that it was just like a huge honey production year. Like it's not going to happen again, because it was my first time keeping bees out here. And they have proved me wrong. And the hives are totally honey bound again. I cannot extract this honey this time, fortunately, because I don't have the energy to, but I'm also treating with Apiguard for the first time. So when that treatment is on the colonies, you can't extract any honey that's produced during that time. Now I know that next year I need to wait. I need to pull some honey off, give them some more supers, and then pull some more off and just do a single extraction, hopefully, in late July or early August next year instead. So that was big learning number 1. Big learning number 2 is that small hive beetles, this little pup is still staring at me, small hive beetles remain a problem out here. And so I have a few videos about how I am doing some preventative measures about it. I won't go into all those details here, since I have those other videos that I'll link to in the description. For the beetles are still a problem. They're not as at a fatal of a level as they were last fall, but I mean, they're only going to keep growing at this point. So I'm just implementing a lot of different practices right now, and a lot of, you know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, beetle killer kind of thing happening as well. The third thing that I learned, and this is kind of interesting because I just showed you that electric fence, figured, you know, that's going to keep everything out. We did notice last winter that a possum actually went underneath the shed, so totally bypassed the electric fence, and had been nibbling on the IPM boards on the colonies, and then just exited underneath the shed. So one of my goals in the spring was going to be to put some chicken wire underneath the shed there and prevent that from happening. I didn't get around to that, so the possum didn't cause any issues, so it's not a big deal. So that was like one little thing that I do have to fix. But the other learning was that we have armadillos here, which I didn't know we have. And the armadillos are totally not phased at all by the electric fence. They just go right through it. If I'm able to get, my husband has a video from one of the cameras here of the armadillo going through the fence. I'll insert it here if I get it in time. If not, you can imagine it. From what I was reading, the armadillos could potentially impact the colonies, but I'm not experiencing any issues with them. But now we're getting the armadillo on I think on every single camera we have around here. So I don't know if it's the same one or if we've got a family of them. I have to research a little bit more about their practices. I don't know if they're kind of like solo species or if they're more of a social. You know, I've never seen one with another anywhere else, so I imagine they're kind of on their own. Those were my big 3 learnings out here, was that there are multiple honey flows. I would like to try and time that summer flow around the sourwood flow. next year. It will take a bit more planning because you really have to get your boxes on and get them off so that other nectar sources aren't stored in there. And then I would need to probably mark those boxes. I'm just thinking out loud here. I would probably have to mark them and extract them first. And that way, when I'm doing multiple times of year extracting in one day, that it's not going to impact those. But things that I'm thinking about. And if you keep bees in the western part of North Carolina, I am curious if you have this bounty of honey every year like I'm experiencing, if you are having any small hive beetle issues. From other beekeepers I've chatted with in this area, no one seems to have these beetle issues. I know that, as you saw, the hives are in a very shaded and treed area, which is prime real estate for small hive beetles. However, it's the only spot where we have a hard line connection for them for the electric fence. I didn't want to rely on a solar fence out here because I don't feel it will be strong enough for bear. I am considering, if it's going to be a big problem again, I might move them to a super sunny spot and try out a solar fence and see how that goes. But please let me know, and I'll give you some updates from Miatas at the Gap, hopefully in the next video. Thanks.